War of the Worlds, starring Tom Cruise, is a modern adaptation of H.G. Wells' classic science fiction novel of the same name. The film follows the story of a father, played by Tom Cruise, and his two children as they struggle to survive in the midst of a full-scale alien invasion. The movie is known for its intense and suspenseful atmosphere. Spielberg's direction effectively creates a sense of chaos, panic, and vulnerability as massive tripods wreak havoc across Earth. The special effects and visual design of the alien tripods are impressive and contribute to the film's gripping tension. Ferrier works as a crane operator at the docks. After finishing his shift in Brooklyn, he heads home to Bayonne, New Jersey, to meet his ex-wife, Marianne, and their two children, Robbie and Rachel. Despite his lateness, the family is waiting for him. It's apparent that Marianne is pregnant. Their interactions involve debates over the children sharing a room and Robbie's upcoming homework assignment due on Monday. Eventually, Marianne and her new husband depart for a weekend trip to Boston to visit her parents. In an attempt to bond, Ray casually suggests playing catch with his son in the backyard. A small tension is noticeable as Robbie now sports a Boston Red Sox hat while Ray is a devoted Yankees fan. Their strained relationship becomes evident during their game, leading to a heated argument resulting in a throw by Ray smashing a basement window. Observing this, Rachel comments on Ray's approach, suggesting that hostility won't bridge the gap with Robbie. She then shifts the focus to lunch plans, to which Ray responds curtly, mentioning ordering food. Subsequently, Ray retreats to his bedroom to catch some rest. Upon waking up several hours later, Ray finds Rachel engrossed in cartoons in the living room. Rachel reveals that Robbie has left with his prized Mustang. Ray's anger flares as he rushes out to the street in search of Robbie. The street is crowded, with everyone's attention drawn to an unusual storm swirling in an unconventional direction to the north. Ray, accompanied by Rachel, ventures into the backyard. A peculiar wind arises, blowing towards the storm. Abruptly, lightning bolts strike the ground, some dangerously close to Ray's vicinity. Hastening back to the house with Rachel, they discover that all the clocks have stopped, and the power is out. Ray's watch has halted, and his cell phone has died. After instructing Rachel to remain indoors, Ray steps outside and locates Robbie nearby. Robbie had driven his car downtown but abandoned it when it stalled. Ray instructs Robbie to watch over his sister before departing. Along the way, Ray encounters an auto repair shop owned by Manny. The owner informs Ray that the minivan he's examining has a burnt-out starter. Ray instructs Manny to replace the solenoid before continuing on his way. Ray walks towards the downtown area, arriving at the spot where the lightning had struck. A crowd has formed around a sizable hole in the street. Curiosity piqued, Ray touches a fragment of the shattered pavement and is taken aback by an unusual chill. Suddenly, the ground beneath the hole surges upward, causing the assembled people to scatter in all directions. Amidst the chaos, a car that had fallen into the hole is violently expelled from the ground. Emerging from the pit is a colossal machine mounted on 3 towering legs. The machine surveys the crowd, emitting a resounding blast akin to a foghorn. As panic grips the crowd, the machine unleashes searing beams of heat, incinerating numerous individuals in an instant, reducing them to ash upon impact. Ray flees, seeking refuge within a department store. As he does so, the remains of a victim cover him with ash. Concealed behind a building, Ray watches in awe as the monstrous machine strides past. His thoughts turn to Robbie and Rachel as he observes a man fleeing with his own child. Returning home, Ray is in a state of shock. Communicating minimally with his children, he cleanses his face and hair of the ash. He firmly informs them that they need to leave immediately. Ray instructs Robbie to gather supplies from the refrigerator while he retrieves a small pistol, tucking it into his belt. They make their way to Manny's garage, where they enter the minivan that had been under repair. Thanks to the solenoid replacement, the vehicle starts without issue. Manny initially thinks Ray is joking until Ray's serious tone convinces him otherwise. Just as Manny attempts to get Ray to leave the car, the nearby Bayonne bridge collapses, prompting Ray to accelerate away. The kids, particularly Rachel, experience a surge of panic, worsened by her claustrophobia. Robbie tries to soothe her, while Ray confides in Robbie about the menacing machine and the devastation it caused. Ray's plan is to lead his children to safety, preferably to their mother and stepfather's residence. Upon reaching Marianne's house, they discover it abandoned. A brief disagreement arises over meal choices, after which Ray guides them to the basement for the night. Restless hours pass, and Ray awakens to the sound of commotion outside, soon escalating into an overpowering roar. Reacting swiftly, the trio seeks refuge in the basement's utility room, securing the door against an approaching wall of flames. After several hours of rest, Ray awakens and ascends the stairs, only to be confronted by the devastating state of the house. The prior night's turmoil was caused by a plane crash in the vicinity. As he surveys the scene, Ray notices a man amidst the wreckage of the plane, clearing out food service carts. It becomes apparent that the man is a cameraman employed by a news network, accompanied by a female reporter. Engaging with Ray, the woman shares that reports concerning the alien tripods all converge. Once the tripods begin their advance, communication and news from the affected area cease. Intrigued, she queries Ray if he is a survivor of the plane crash. Ray denies it, prompting the news crew to depart swiftly. Ray gathers his family and resumes their journey in the minivan. After a stretch of driving, they halt when Rachel requires a restroom break. Exhibiting defiance, she strays farther than Ray deems acceptable and halts near a creek. While observing the water, Rachel is confronted by the distressing sight of numerous human bodies floating past. Before long, Ray locates her and reproaches her for venturing too far. As they return to the vehicle, an army convoy passes by. Robbie's demeanor shifts, marked by anger and a desire to join the counterattack against the invaders. Ray attempts to reason with Robbie, asserting that the notion of aligning with the military is impractical. To grant himself and his daughter some rest, Ray permits Robbie to take the wheel. They encounter a small town where evacuees have congregated. The mood within the crowd swiftly sours towards Ray's family, and they demand possession of their vehicle. Forcefully extracted from the minivan, Ray and Robbie become targets of the mob's aggression. Amidst the chaos, Rachel succumbs to panic. Regaining his composure, Ray employs his pistol to create a temporary barrier, prompting the crowd to step back. Soon, he is compelled to relinquish his firearm as another man, determined to seize the minivan, holds Ray at gunpoint. Ray secures Rachel's safety and leads her away from the tumult. The crowd's aggression escalates, resulting in an attack on the individual who commandeered the minivan. The family continues walking alongside the stream of evacuees. At a railroad crossing, a blazing train hurtles by, engulfed in flames from end to end. Later, at a ferry crossing in Athens, New York, the family awaits passage on one of the boats. Here, Ray encounters an acquaintance, a woman accompanied by her own daughter. The eerie sound of the alien signal echoes nearby, prompting the crowd to surge towards the ferry. However, the army guards close the gates, denying entry to Ray, his friend, and their children. Spotting a way to circumvent the gates and reach the boat, only Ray and his kids manage to make it on board. Robbie notices several people struggling to climb over the ferry's ramp and rushes to their aid. As the ferry embarks across the river, another tripod emerges from the water, launching an attack that capsizes the vessel, plunging cars and people into the water. Amidst the chaos, Ray and the children resurface and swim towards the shore. Tentacles from the tripod snatch individuals from the water. Eventually reaching land, Ray and his kids make their way to the opposite side. In their retreat, they observe articles of clothing descending from the sky. Continuing their journey on foot, the family encounters a clash between the aliens and the army. Overhead, jets streak through the sky as Robbie becomes strangely drawn to the hidden battle unfolding beyond a hill. Despite Ray and Rachel's calls for him to return, Robbie remains undeterred, advancing toward the unseen conflict. Army personnel halt Robbie's progress at the hill's summit. Leaving Rachel under a tree, Ray confronts Robbie, attempting to dissuade him from becoming involved. Acknowledging Robbie's determination, Ray reluctantly permits him to proceed, understanding he must safeguard his daughter. Retrieving Rachel, Ray watches as the helicopter's final assault fails to halt the tripods. Robbie disappears over the hill, leaving Ray with a last glimpse of a towering tripod against a backdrop of flames. It becomes evident that the tripods possess an impervious shield that deflects all attempts at bombardment. Soon after, Ray and Rachel are beckoned by a nearby homeowner named Ogilvy, who offers them refuge in his basement. However, it quickly becomes apparent that Ogilvy's mental state is precarious, and he intends to dig his way out of the basement. The group hides as loud sounds from upstairs signal a threat. A snake-like probe infiltrates the basement, narrowly missing detection by the group. The probe retracts after a few minutes. Subsequently, three curious three-legged aliens enter the basement. Ray prevents Ogilvy from firing his shotgun, aware that the noise would attract more of the creatures. The aliens depart when their signal resounds. Ray also uncovers a startling revelation. The aliens are blanketing the landscape with a rapidly spreading, enigmatic red vine, nourished by the blood of captured humans. This revelation sends Ogilvy into a frenzy, as he frantically digs in his basement, while repeating the phrase, "Not my blood!" in distress. Recognizing that Ogilvy's behavior could compromise their safety, Ray realizes he must take decisive action. Despite his attempts to calm Ogilvy, it becomes clear that a more drastic step is needed. Ray has Rachel put on her headphones to drown out any sounds and then, behind a closed door, confronts and ultimately eliminates Ogilvy. After emerging from the room, both Ray and Rachel finally succumb to sleep. Upon Rachel's awakening, she witnesses the return of the alien probe, alerting them to their compromised position. Employing an axe, Ray swiftly neutralizes the probe's sensory appendage. However, Rachel has already fled the house. Ray rushes out just in time to witness her capture by a tripod. The tripod engages Ray in a brief struggle before he seeks refuge in a nearby Humvee. Although the tripod loses interest, Ray's ingenuity comes into play as he employs a grenade from a belt he discovers to draw the tripod's attention. The tactic leads to his entrapment in an underslung cage alongside other captives. In the tense situation, Ray seizes control, deploying grenades to free himself and the others by causing an explosion inside the tripod. Ray and Rachel eventually reach Boston, guided by soldiers. Amidst this chaos, Ray notes the withering of the red weeds and the descent of another tripod. The sounding of a horn by a nearby tripod prompts a panicked retreat. Ray's keen observation reveals a weakness. A tripod's shield is non-functional when birds land upon it. He communicates this information to a captain on the scene who commands his platoon to engage with javelin missiles. The defenseless tripod is targeted and subsequently toppled by the missiles, resulting in the collapse of a nearby building. As evacuees and soldiers converge upon the tripod, a hatch opens, revealing a luminous orange fluid. An alien limb, colored pink instead of the familiar steel gray, hangs lifelessly. It becomes evident that the aliens are succumbing to an unknown ailment. Ray escorts Rachel to his in-laws' residence, where his ex-wife, her new husband, and her parents await. Rachel rushes to her mother's arms, while Robbie emerges from the house as well, culminating in a heartfelt embrace between father and son. The narrative voice returns to conclude the story, revealing that despite the aliens' annihilation of billions, their vulnerability to disease-bearing bacteria to which humanity has long been immune led to their downfall. In summary, War of the Worlds is a visually stunning and tension-filled science fiction film that effectively captures the chaos and fear of an alien invasion. Tom Cruise's strong performance and Spielberg's direction contribute to its compelling atmosphere. While it may not fully delve into character development, the movie offers a thought-provoking exploration of humanity's vulnerability and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable. If you did, we kindly ask you to consider subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you'll become part of our community, gaining access to more exciting videos, informative content, and engaging discussions. It's the best way to stay updated with all our latest releases and be the first to know when we publish something new. Subscribing to our channel is absolutely free, and it helps us tremendously in reaching a wider audience and producing even better content for you. Plus, it shows us that you appreciate what we do, and that means the world to us.